Okay, so I've been fucking hemming and hawing all day about doing this. I'm like, I'm not gonna have time to do this. And I want to set up like everything all professional, get the lights going. But you know what? I'm gonna do it now. Get it over with. That sounded bad. I didn't mean for that to sound bad. I want to do this, but it's more of an anxiety thing. But here's the deal. My production breakdown is pure shit. And I have to fucking get you guys something that's worth looking at here. So I have 3 elements that I want to show you guys. I want to talk to you guys about how I configured my drums, glitchy sounding bass, and then the main like first thing we'll talk about is the main synth. So this is the main synth idea, and I'm super proud of how fucking nasty sounding that is. I always find I'm bad with synth sounds, but I really think I nailed this for what I wanted. So here's what it started out as, kind of lame, and here's pedal. So that made a big fucking difference. I go with this fuzz thing here. There's like distortion. I find fuzz so fucking nasty. It's just gross. And then I add reverb to kind of make it a little bit wider. In the bridge, there's another cool little synth part. I wasn't going to talk about it, but maybe it's something to cover. Here it is on its own. Which is weird, you probably don't even notice it in the song. Here it is with the main synth. So on the screen here, this arpeggiator is making most of the difference here. I'll show you the difference. And then you throw this arpeggiator on and it starts bouncing like a motherfucker. It's just this cool rhythmic. I do a lot of that is I listen rhythmically. Like if there's weird shit going on, I'm like, does it count? Like is it rhythmically working in the song? Like even little hiccups. If the hiccups work with the rhythm of the song, I'm not opposed to keeping them. So here's the riff now with nothing. Very similar to the other one. So pedal, I went with distorted this time. And then echo almost dampens it and spreads it. I don't know how I did that or why I chose this. A lot of times it's like trial and error. And then I compressed it so we got a little closer to it. Yeah, and then I add that in. Okay, so the bassy glitch sound. It's another one I'm really proud of. Here's the bass synth that talk about. What I like to do is take samples of guitars and then stretching out little spots. So I ended up doing that, and then I added an amp on top. Holy fuck. Say falsa, tab out on that. And you can hear the little glitches going on in there. All right, so here we have like 4 little rhythm section here. So what I most likely did is I went inside and I started placing these yellow markers here, and then just pulling it and kind of stretching it in sections to get some sort of rhythmic movement of that waveform. I don't even know how I just fuck with it until it's rhythmic. So next we have the EQ. So let's hear without. And then we start to isolate those frequencies, and then we throw some reverb on there. And it just becomes really nice and big and thick. And it's just really airy, it fills the space in a really fucking disgusting way. And yeah. Okay, so last we have our drums. Now this is why I made this video. So my buddy Hugh from a band called From Humans to Hydra got in touch, and he's like, yo dude, like I'd really like to know how you did your drums. Did you program them? I'm like, yeah, I programmed them in. He's like, okay, well I'd like to talk about how you did it. I'm like, fucking right. So what I did is I just took these individual samples, placed them in where I wanted them, and then sometimes if I really wanted to get crazy, I'll reverse some. So like this one's going one way, and then I'll go in and I'll chop it, and then I'll hit reverse, and then later on I'll glue them back together when I'm done. And yeah, I find that brings like kind of like interesting sounds. And then if you look here in the snare part for where my roll is, so I just took that, well I don't know if it's the same sample, but I took another snare sample and shrunk it down, so that's almost as if I'm hitting it less impactfully. Anyways, that's my, I kind of rambled there at the end, but that's how I do it. That's how I made those elements of Together Apart. I never really thought that anyone would want to know this stuff, but yeah, definitely, if you guys ever have questions about how I do something, please by all means get in touch and be like, yo dude, and I'll come on and show you. So that's it for now. Stay the fuck out of trouble. Hope you're doing good. And we will talk soon.